Lately, I've been quite delighted to have had the opportunity to play Breath of the Wild, or because I'm filing the Fall Part 2, I've had the opportunity to watch my wife play it while I sit on my laptop and fix bugs, which is almost just as good. There are a lot of reasons why Breath of the Wild is a fantastic game, but I'm going to focus on only one of them today. That thing is a simple, clear, well-designed, motivational frame. A well-designed motivational frame essentially means that the main motivation is so well designed that every action you perform in the game is connected to it in one way or another. Consider the goal in Breath of the Wild: to destroy or banish Calamity Ganon, rescue Princess Zelda, and save Hyrule. Already, this is a pretty good goal with wide appeal because it includes destroying evil, saving the girl, and becoming significant in society, but this is really just the tip of the iceberg. There are two main sub-goals. First, rescue the 4 divine beasts, which is kind of a stroke of genius because it actually contains both the thrill of the hunt and the noble righteousness of freeing an animal. The second sub-goal is to unlock your memories to discover who you are, which is fantastic because it creates an entryway for players who are chiefly motivated to feel a connection with their in-game character, which is incredibly common. Both of these give you strength and allow you to defeat Ganon, of course, which makes them ultimately validated by the central goal of this motivational frame. In other words, if you're naturally interested in discovering Link's past, you are now ultimately validated in doing so because it's directly connected with the highest value inside this frame. In fact, almost every action in the game is connected with the highest value inside this frame. But even more interestingly, most gameplay systems are connected to every other gameplay system as well. Foraging and cooking is how you refill your health, but it can also give you potions to help you fight or explore more efficiently. Exploring, in turn, is connected to every other system. Doing it can get you better food and also weapons and items, but it's also how you find people who can tell you about locations to unlock Link's memories. If you want to get to places and unlock Link's memories, you'll need to get better at fighting and level up your character. If you want to level up your character, then completing shrines will do that, but they also act as fast travel points, which expand your ability to explore. Exploring is also how you encounter other cultures, gain their trust, and access to the divine beasts. Rescuing the divine beasts gives you powers that make you better at everything. I could go on. In other words, it's not just that foraging, for example, is meaningful because it's directly connected to defeating Ganon, it's also part of a feedback loop with everything else. If foraging and fighting help you defeat Ganon, and foraging makes you better at fighting, and fighting makes you better at foraging, and both of those systems make you better at every other system that also help you defeat Ganon, then everything that you do becomes infused with meaning. Video games are like drugs. By engaging with them, you enter a specific state of mind that's required to excel in that particular game. I think one of the reasons, if not the main reason, why Breath of the Wild is so enjoyable is because while playing it, it creates what you could call an integrated state of mind. Think of your job, if you're lucky enough to have one. Why do you do it? To make money. Surely that isn't the only criteria, though. If you could have a job where you made equal amounts of money, but you deeply enjoyed what you do, that would be better, right? Furthermore, if that job was in line with your highest goal for yourself and the people you love, and even humanity, that would be even better. Why is that? Well, the reason is that human beings have multiple motivations and desires, and we have a profound instinct to try and align all of those motivations into an integrated frame. The proof of that instinct is in your response to the previous questions. Obviously, it's better to survive and be happy, and better yet, to contribute something to others if possible. The idea that being out of alignment in this way is better it just doesn't compute. You see, if you could actually align all of the motivations in your life, then every action you perform would be meaningful because it would be connected to your highest conceptualization of good and grounded in your fundamental biological needs. It's a good thing to consider for yourself, actually. What would that feel like? Well, One of the truly beautiful things about Breath of the Wild is, in part, that's what it's showing us. That's why it's fun to forage around for mushrooms, because it's actually an important and meaningful action. It's part of an integrated state. Being an open world game, Breath of the Wild is a particularly extraordinary and complex example of this, but I strongly believe that developers of all sizes can benefit from this as well, even if it's with a smaller scope. That's why we have combat in the fall, and why you play as a badass killing machine. You see, I like shooting shit. I don't think it's stupid or out of alignment with intellectual content for that matter. In fact, part of the reason I started working on the fall was to bring those impulses, and others, into closer alignment, to create a sort of integrated state. See, when talking about marketing, a lot of people talk about action gamers as if they're like Call of Duty bros, and puzzle gamers, by contrast, are closer to Rick Moranis in Ghostbusters.
I am the Keymaster.
Well, I think that people are complex, and if a developer can figure out how to integrate disparate motivations, then their games will simply appeal to more people. It might be counterintuitive, but in my opinion, violent gameplay makes contemplative puzzle solving better, because you're solving puzzles in a world that has real, tangible threat, and the challenges therein need to be overcome or there will be consequences. Also, puzzle solving makes exploration better. Obviously, because if you need to understand and do something with what you're exploring, then what you're exploring actually matters.
These bones are pathetic?
This type of meaning stacking is possible, in my opinion, when you try and get a grasp of the different motivations that drive people, and also exist in you, and try and stack them. People have a desire to be a badass motherfucker.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
People also have a desire to feel connected with other beings, to challenge their minds, to achieve mastery in some skill, to find meaning in their actions, to make a difference in the world. And in my opinion, the more of these things that we, as game developers, can stack on top of one another, the more rich our games will be. And I'm sure that the Breath of the Wild developers must know this, because that game isn't just a jumble of things that you can do. It's like a holographic system where every action is connected to the whole. So, if you're the type of gamer who wants to explore, then Breath of the Wild has made that chiefly important. If you're the type of gamer who wants to kill enemies, then Breath of the Wild has made that chiefly important. If you're the type of gamer who wants to fish, then Breath of the Wild has actually made that chiefly important. I think I made my point. These integrated states aren't easy to build, but they make everything better. These videos are, I hope, an example. The main goal here is just to promote the Fall Part 2. However, if I can do that by showing people more ways to feel love for something they already enjoy, that's obviously so much better than just a flat advertisement. These types of integrated systems are certainly worth aiming for, and great games like Breath of the Wild show us that from time to time. We hope to show you that too. So please, keep an eye on Over the Moon and look for the Fall Part 2 Unbound when it comes out this February.